1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe play it down an octave. I'll play a little melody, a little bit of solo here. So you can just solo around an F. A little bit D harmonic minor. Back to do some like F blues. Sharp 5, C sharp 5. D harmonic minor over that measure. Everything else you can just kind of blues out in F. Kind of nod to the melody. singing this bridge, you can kind of get away with F pentatonic, major pentatonic. A little bit of blues in there. Here's that D harmonic minor again. Back to F. As far as like an ending for this, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to get my where's the face here? Anchor face. All right, stick with me here. This is millennial dealing with technology. Getting better though, right? I'm learning how to make videos. You're learning Georgia on my mind, so we're both learning. All right. Oh yeah. So a lot of my time is trying to get this skill up and going. It's getting better making videos, but in the future, yeah, I definitely want to spend some time with recording and have some ideas of what's going on with I think of the Ray Charles one. I know there's a lot of beautiful versions of this song, but Ray Charles is the one that sticks out the most to me. Today, since time is limited, I'm just going to kind of talk about what comes to my mind, and I reserve the right to maybe give you some bad advice, but hopefully you'll take what helps you and then leave the rest. So let's kind of dive in to this a little bit. So right out of the gate, this thing is pretty much all in F major. There's two spots. I mean, there's a bunch of spots, but since we're starting out here, I don't want to get too bogged down with the theory. I feel like, especially the students that I'm making this video for, I know there might be future people seeing this, but the young musicians that are in my jazz guitar class, they're just starting out. So I don't want to get into like the heavy theory of like all this stuff. Let's see here. I'm just making sure. Hopefully, there we go. I don't want to get too bogged down with what we can do all over these changes. There's definitely a lot of complexity we can add, but for now, I just think two things. You can either just explore the sound of a key. In this case, most of it is in F major. This part, this change, I don't know if what's going on with my marker? There we go. This change, that change, would be D harmonic minor, which we'll jump over. But everything else, there's a spot here that could be A harmonic minor, but that goes by so fast. What's going on? Why isn't there we go. That would be A harmonic. It goes by so fast, so I'm not going to worry about it. But that's definitely worth spending time with, because there's only one note difference between a D harmonic minor and an F major sound, because a little theory lesson, D minor is the relative minor of F major. So as they are related, they're very closely related. But everything here, you can use a lot of like F pentatonic or just the sound of the F major, and use your ear to kind of tell you like, well, do I like that sound or not? I was primarily, let me see, this is from another lesson here. It's clear. I was primarily using 5th position F, so it's going to be pattern 1 C shape if you're going by the Cage system. Right out of the gate, pentatonic, you can just take away the 4 and the 7. So pentatonic, major pentatonic, I should clarify. 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a good open sounding scale. It works over a lot of things, which is why we use it a lot. So if I were to like just get rid of those, you got kind of like a deal like this. So that sounds like. You can make a lot of music with that. And so I recommend that. I recommend just kind of playing off the melody. See, I could do something like this, oh, I guess I accidentally deleted my loop here. Let me make a quick loop. So. We'll talk about chords here in a second too. I just felt like talking about solos at first. Just mess around with the melody, right? Kind of get that into your ear, right? Maybe add like a little trill of the note in the scale above it or below it. Or you can just kind of play in the scale. Obviously, at some point, you want to do some other stuff, but you're just getting started, so just kind of get lost in that sound. See? And if you find a note that doesn't work over a certain chord, just kind of note that. You can always figure out the theory later. So, but if you wanted to kind of, the one step that if we can go a little bit deeper with this is, let's see, getting my iPad chops together. Yes. Okay. There is a part that will go to D minor, that E half diminished to A7 flat 9, right? That is a fancy word, tonicizing D minor. So how do we do that? A quick way to do that is harmonic minor. I like relating everything to the major scale. Like a D harmonic minor would be, let me get the, so I'll spell that out real quick. It'd be D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C sharp, and D. Now, if you look at this, you'll notice there's only one note difference between this. Like if I went from F to F, if I kept writing it out here to C, F, what note is different? The C sharp. So, as weird as this might sound, if you take F major and sharp the 5, that'll give you the notes of a D harmonic minor. It may not work for everybody, but for me, we could talk about each chord has a chord scale to it, a certain scale that go with a particular chord. But if you're trying to make melodies, rather than kind of keep ducking down here, rather than when you're trying to make melodies, a lot of times it helps me if I'm just kind of thinking like in a general key. It kind of frees up my brain space. And as you transcribe solos and listen to this music more, you'll get language and things that you can add. And ultimately, it's like you're singing through your instrument, right? Just like how we think about when we're talking in tone of voice, you get to a point where you're not really thinking about that stuff. You're just expressing yourself. So, going back to the idea of trying to make music with this, let me clear this up because that's kind of getting a little messy. Where's my eraser here? There we go. So if I just took all the 5s, so we got this guy right here, we're going to make it a sharp 5. And the other 5s here, you could do sharp 5 up here. You could, and that would be a half step up from D. That's a nice thing to resolve up to. You could put the sharp 5 here, but I kind of like it there. So, kind of like if I'm doing a sound like this, I'm just going to loop 2, 3, 4. So now it has that C sharp that you need for that A7 chord, right? See, that C sharp it leads your ear to the D. So on and so forth, and naturally I kind of start going into my licks, You know, just as like you'll listen to guitars that you like, and or any instrument really. It could be piano, saxophone players, just any ideas that you like. You can borrow for them. Definitely recommend that. So that's how I would get through the A section. If I'm going back to the chart here, we'll kind of leave that for a second. We'll go back to Georgia on My Mind. So yeah, and once you land back on D minor, you could probably keep playing in D harmonic minor if you wanted to, but you could just go back to F. That's kind of what I found myself doing when I was just playing just now. Don't worry about this A harmonic minor. I guess that was just my ego of I know what I'm talking about. I promise. You know, but uh, again, I stand by the idea that like this G7, you would probably use a different scale. A lot of this stuff you can use a lot of different scales if you want to really get into the changes. But right now we're just trying to just get in the game here and start having some fun. Same deal with like the bridge. You could just kind of blues out in D. I kind of like also spreading that B flat 7, A7 over the bridge. So I'm kind of playing through this. I'm just going to not really think about the chords. I'm just going to try to create melodies. So I don't know if that'll help you out or not, but let's talk about some chord shapes, and then I'll let you go here. I don't want to get too long-winded with this. I just wanted to, I wish I had more time in classes to spend with everybody to kind of get into this stuff, but with 14 students and in 1 hour's time, it just goes so fast. So what am I doing here? Yeah. All right, so I'm trying to get the iPad going. All right. Chord sheet, that's what I want. Let me clear this guy out. This is from another lesson. So I'm going to teach you, I know I didn't play shell voicings. I'm going to talk more at length about that handout that I have, the little, if you've had me as a teacher, you've probably seen my little jazz chord boot camp. The first page of that does shell voicings. I'm going to limit myself to that because the particular students learning this song I think would benefit the most. Don't worry about the full voicings. I mean, if you're curious, you can ask me or whatever. Maybe you can figure it out by looking at my hands and going between that would be the second page. I'm doing a lot of the 4-note voicings. But for now, I'm just going to do shell voicing. So F major 7. What are we doing here? There we go. F major 7. You're going to do, if my would it cooperate with me here? There we go. This would be on the 8th fret. I like this. If you want to kind of mix it up, sometimes it's a fun thing to do to kind of go between here. So that'd be the root, the 3rd, and the 7th. And that's what shell voicings are. They're root, 3rd, and 7th. 3rds and 7ths. And the smallest amount of information can convey like the essence, the core of that sound. The 5th gives it a coloration. Obviously a 7th chord is 4 notes, but you can achieve a surprisingly full sound with just shell voicing. So what I'm doing here is I'm going between the root and what would be the 5th on that. So sometimes when we're comping over a ballad, since it's a slow tempo, the challenge is how can we keep motion going? So right now what I'm doing is I'm kind of like letting my fingers on the 3rd and the 7th go in quarter notes. And I'm just going between, just let you know kind of what I'm doing. But there's nothing wrong with just staying on the tonic. You can always make it more complicated, but add more things. All right, so let's keep going here. Oops, still getting my iPad jobs. E half diminished. That's going to be root, flat 3, flat 7. And then if you want, you can throw like a flat 5 there. So just like what I was doing with since the changes are going by fast, you're probably not going to get to do that. You're just going to go from E. Let's say if, in the future, just while it's on my mind, I'm saying this while it's on my mind. Let's say you had a whole measure of E, half diminished. Right? So that's kind of a thing. Again, this note, see if you can see my cursor. That note right there, that's bonus. Just want that in the back of your head. But for now, this will take care of your chord. And then A7, oh yeah, let me just clarify, that would be the, this would be the 7th fret, all right? A7. Fifth fret, all right? That's gonna be the root, flat 7, and a major 3rd, all right? So those together, I'm kind of, like I said in the beginning, I reserve the right to be wrong. I'm sure people could critique me on this. I'm making this a D minor 7. And what I can do with this shape is, I'll just say that it's root, flat 3, flat 7, is it goes to the C. Oh, what's going on up here? Oh, that's a ruler. All right, hold on a second. I wonder what that's been this whole time. Sorry. So I'm going to put this in parentheses because there is a moving bass line. Or I'll show you a different thing. Sometimes when you're comping, as you run out of neck, you have to make a decision like, do I jump up the neck? I could keep going, I'm kind of out of room. Once if I'm going to do shell voicings, I need to switch to get, to get that B flat minor 7. So, but that walk down, and I'm just the way I do is I just bar those 2 strings with my first finger. And then B half diminished, the way I'm playing it is here. A thought occurred to me is as you're looking at the shell voicings, you might notice, Matt, the same voicings are B half diminished as B minor 7. And the reason behind that is, let's see if I can clarify this. I'm going to write B minor 7 as blue, B flat minor, I should clarify. Wait, no, it is B7. Hey, how are you? A B minor 7 has a natural 5. A B half diminished or B minor 7 flat 5. Sometimes people write this chord as B flat minor 7 flat 5. All right, I keep wanting to write B flat, oh well. The flat 5 would be there. So as the name suggests, you lower the, a lot of times the old school guys, I noticed they'll say lowered 5th. Typically, I hear people mostly say flat 5. That's the difference. But the beauty of shell voicings is you don't need to play that 5th. You have just a root, which is another reason shell voicings are nice, because a lot of cases, they're open sounding. They kind of like we were talking about the major pentatonic. It doesn't have all the notes of the scale, so that way it sounds a little bit more open. It will. There's less chance of you hitting a wrong note or a note that's not going to really jive with what's going on in the moment. So there's your B half diminished, and then B flat minor 7, which would literally be just the exact same shape, but down a fret. So this would be 6th fret, and E flat 7. So you see how similar those are? So like here, that finger goes there, that lowers a note. That lowers 1 fret, all right? Just kind of, since I'm being thorough, flat 7, flat 3, root, 3rd, flat 7. Okay, so I'm going to hurry it up here because I know I'm getting a little long-winded like I do. Sorry about that. So we're only through the first 4 measures, but the good news is that A lot of the shapes that we already learned are going to be ones that we've done. So starting on that second system, A minor 7, we already covered that one. I think we did. Maybe we didn't. Well, A minor 7 is going to be the same as B flat minor 7, but down a step. So we're B flat minor 7 here. I think that's supposed to be a 6. Oh, definitely don't get hired based on my penmanship, that's for sure. So go down a half step, that gives you A minor 7. D7 is the same as E flat 7. Same deal. So it's a sweet old song, keeps Georgia. Same deal. G minor is 3rd fret. C7 is 3rd fret, same shape. So you'll do those a lot. It's, you know, it's 2 5s. You know, jazz music made up of a lot of 2 5s. And then now here's something like this, where it's, you know, Georgia is like as far as like jazz tunes go, it's on the bluesier side. You know, sometimes you can approach a ballad. There's different ways to treat ballads. This is definitely one that would fall under kind of like more of a rolling. That's not always how jazz ballads are. I'll just leave it at that. So another thing that kind of goes with that style, and I always think of like the Beatles song, "Oh Darling." I think it starts with that shape starts where your ring finger would be on the 7th fret. Since we need a C7, I guess this would be just a C augmented technically. There's no 7 there. It's root, 3rd, sharp 5, and then another root. This is the 3rd fret. So like if I'm looking at that first ending, Georgia on my mind, right? And then that takes care of the A section. What do we got here? And then second ending, on my mind. And we know this shape, E half diminished. Going back up here. There we go. You can do like a proper D minor. You can do a D minor 7. Probably get away with that. A minor 7. And the way that this chart is written here, let me switch over. Give me a second here. I'm going to pause. All right, look at that. All right, I'm learning as I go here. So I just figured out how you could do 2 pages with this. So so check out this part. So B flat 7, A7 are the same shape. You know, if I were to kind of zoom in, this guy. So the B flat 7 would just be up 1 fret. Another thing you could do, since, well, I told myself I was going to do shell voicings, but I'll give you a little bonus here. So if you notice, let me see here, sorry. Check this out, check this note out. So A7 with an F on top is actually going to be an A7 sharp 5. So check this out. So if I added a sharp 5, and that's kind of cool because let's say you did a B flat 7, hold on a second here, before it, 6th fret, that's a B flat 7, just a good old garden variety B flat 7, you know. That's kind of cool. Like as you get more into comping and stuff, you'll start paying attention to more like what the top note, you can create counter melodies with what the soloist or the melody is doing by whatever note you put at the top. So, and if I wanted to get that like da da da, I might take that D minor shape. Where's that D minor shape? And I could put the root up top like this. So the note, that ba ba that we were playing with the B flat 7 and A7 would be here. This is 5th fret. So if we were to do that again, so on the run the bridge, da 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 da. And personally, I like spreading this. I like putting this B flat here, and then the A7, which I'm making A7 sharp 5, I put it there so they get 2 beats apiece, and that does work with the melody. So So F, D. So that kind of works nicely. So there you go. There's a little bonus thing. I know I said shell voicings, but there you go. D minor. I'm making D minor 7. Same deal, kind of what I was doing with F major. I can take this as the root, and then I could go over here and grab the 5th. That's a nice little alternate bass thing. Just creates motion. Then G7, which also plays nicely with the melody. Tenderly. Now this is an interesting thing here. You want to watch out having that C on top though if it's a C sharp. So, okay, what would be a good beginner way to get that? All right, so I'm just going to kind of show you something here. So we'll start off, obviously, D minor, which we'll do D minor 7. This is kind of this shape, right? Or you could go. I know this is not what the chord says, but this should still work. I'll keep it simple, sorry. I'm figuring it out as I go along. So you have kind of this cool walk down effect. So let's say we're going to keep, this is just 2-note thing. And then we'll talk about what happens when we get that B half diminished shape. I know it's E7 altered. Maybe I'll show you that shape. Let's one thing at a time here. So that would be D minor, C sharp in the bass. So C sharp is going to be there, D, C sharp, and then C. By the way, this is 5th fret. So, and then when you get here, you can fill out, I'll show you a fuller voicing here. That could be, you could do this if you wanted to add the 4th note. At the 2nd fret, that's going to give you B half diminished. And at that point, I could do an E7. I know it says E7 alt. Something like that. So what I'm playing there is that's open, skip, open, 1st fret, 1st fret, which is a sharp 5. So altered means that you just do something to the 5. It could be a flat or 5th 5, flat or sharp 5, a flat or sharp 9. Don't want to get too much into that because I could fill a half-hour discussion on just those chords. But suffice to say, E7 sharp 5, which is what I showed you here, root, flat 7, 3, sharp 5. That gives you a altered sound. Alternatively, so I'm going to erase here. You'll have to rewind the video if you want to go see those shapes. I'll show you a more common one that, not common, but sure, we can call it common. You can go back to that B half diminished shape, 7th fret. And there's a cool voice leading thing. So in the idea of altering the 9 or the 5th for altered, you could do E7 sharp 9. This voicing does not have a 5th. So technically an altered would either have like a sharp 5 or a flat 5, some kind of altered 5 for it to be, altered. But since we do not have a 5 in this, it will work for what we need. Sorry if all this stuff is confusing, just let it wash over you. You got a long, if you're just starting out in this world, you got a lot of time to think and process this stuff. So even if it doesn't make sense, it's good for you to hear a lot of this jargon and terms and stuff. So if I resolve that to like an A minor chord, 5, skip, 5, 5, 5, 5th fret, So going back to our, and then at that point, everything's repeated. So how long? Okay, so this one ran a little long. Sorry about that. But, I remember having lessons with my teacher on this stuff, and my lessons were an hour long. So and something to think about. I know we're talking specifically to this tune, but the stuff you're learning in this, you're going to see in so many other songs. I mean, since I'm just going to talk now, got to remember to go to the face. So, a lot of the stuff you learn in any tune, really, but particularly this one, since we're working on it, you're going to see that stuff all over the place. So, I know it probably feels overwhelming, but think about it this way. You're not just learning this song, you're learning stuff you're going to use in every song from here on out. So, don't get discouraged. Just, take it a bite at a time, and just realize, this is just another step in a long journey that you're on. So, if you have any questions, shoot me an email, ask me a question. You can ask me in class if you have me in class. And yeah, I hope that helps, and we'll see you around.